Alright, so here we are with the credits, which you have to get through the main menu, it seems, which I think is a bit odd. I kind of like... Oh, they're singing again. That makes me want to just listen to the song. But I also want to talk about... Well, we'll listen to the song and see how long it goes on. See if I get bored. Blighty bursts from the cobblestones, racing, climbing, blooming fertility, born from secret seeds that are scattered in the night time. London is fed upon the meat of the dead. They're one shallow inch below the town. Underground, leave them underground. Them that whispered dreams that only poisoned us, them that told us lies of their bravery, them that preached of progress and put us in the poorhouse. Them done horrid murder on bloody stages, them that loudly crowed their humility, lords and dames that sung in the chapels on a Sunday. All quiet now, their mouths I'm going to start talking now because I'm getting a bit bored. I'm not talking. So, I enjoyed this. There are a few things I don't think they got right, which I might be wrong about, admittedly. Just history stuff. I think I enjoyed the fact that they now have, because I think this is the first major release. Sorry, Liberation. To have a female protagonist. I know they kind of push it in for, which one was it? Odyssey, the one in ancient Greece, Peloponnesian War, I think. They kind of push for, they kind of go, oh, look, you can choose to play as a female protagonist for the first time. And it's like, hello, Evie Fry. So yeah, I think as I think it's probably quite clear, and I think I mentioned it several times, I prefer Evie's character to Jacob. Jacob is a bit more brash and thuggish. He's a lot more kind of brutal in his attitude, whereas I think Evie's a lot more, let's try and get things to work and try and make things manageable. So yeah, I think I enjoyed the story. I did enjoy the fact that there were kind of two parts of the story, where it was one was looking for the shroud and the other one was... If I'd waited 2 more minutes, I think that would have worked. Oh, they're just going to do loads of kind of musical type things. Attend the tale of Maxwell Rough. He's sort of footlights like a moth. Oh. And what one was trying to deal with the Templars, and I like that kind of challenge. And I think that'd be kind of an interesting game to have, where if you go too far one way, maybe the other side grows too big. But then again, if you don't, you won't get the shroud if you don't focus on the shroud, and the Templars will get it. And if you don't kill the Templars. But this was quite balanced, where people weren't working to, where it was kind of, they were both working towards the same thing. The only sequence I didn't like as a sequence was sequence 8, the Maxwell Roth one, which people are currently singing about. It felt very side questy, and it felt like this really weird tangent from the main mission. I didn't really see much point of it, because it just didn't really seem to fit. Like, yeah, he suddenly wants to fight Starrick, and then he wants to blow up a factory and doesn't care that there's children inside. And suddenly he now hates Jacob. I think it could possibly work if that had been the whole setup anyway. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of that one. If you wanted to do another sequence with him, why not just have him be a Templar? and you just pad out a bit more of the looking for the shroud thing, and extend sequence 8 a little bit, but have him just be a Templar. I think that would make a lot more sense than, oh, he's not a Templar, he just doesn't like Starrick, but also doesn't like Jacob. And admittedly, he's got a reason to not like Jacob, because Jacob's kind of muscled in on his turf. But I think that possibly could have worked more as a side thing. Like, if you're focusing on the boroughs, then maybe his side quests do it, and now you can't take any more boroughs until you deal with his side quest. That's a possible thought with that. But yeah, I mean, it's Assassin's Creed. They didn't really change much. I think even the combat is still very, very similar to the way it's kind of always been. Although I think they change it for the next one, which is Origins in Egypt. So it'll be interesting to see how that one will work. So I'm not entirely sure where that's gonna. I'm not entirely sure what that's gonna be like, because apparently they really change it up, and they change the equipment, so it's more level based. Whereas in this game, there's less. Like, I mean, I probably could have just worked through without much of the upgrades, because I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a bit boastful there. I'm not saying I'm good. I just think I probably could have managed. I probably would have died a lot more, but I probably could have managed without upgrading much. So I don't know if they changed that in the next ones. Yeah. So I mean, I enjoyed it. I think the only thing I wasn't a huge fan of was the modern story, because it's completely and utterly irrelevant. And then it sets up the beginning. Newcastle. Oh, right. I'm assuming Newcastle upon Tyne, but that might be wrong. I wasn't, yeah, and so it starts and sets up, this is what we're doing, and we're looking for the shroud. But I had legitimately forgotten that there was even a modern story to it. Is that the first time that's happened? Suck on it, old Philip Twopenny. What's the one before this one? Is it Assassin's Creed 4 then this one? No, it's not, is it? Is it? Unity. What was the modern story like in Unity? That one didn't really have one either. No, well, that one just didn't. I don't think had one at all, really. This one they kind of tried to have it again, but they just they had they had a tiny bit at the beginning and a tiny bit at the end, and it's kind of, you've got to make a decision. Are you going to have the modern story or you're not? And if you're not going to have the modern story, then don't have the modern story. We're going to mention it at the very beginning, and then we're going to crowbar it back in at the end. Doesn't work. I think you've got to have it all the way through, which happens in 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelation, 3, 4 had it, or you go down the Unity way of not really mentioning it. And I get they're trying to do something more with it, but they need to either kind of commit to it and maybe shorten some of these not even shorten some of the sequences, just have interruptions between the sequences where maybe you've got to do a little fiddly thing a little puzzle, and then people have to, and then you have to and that while that's happening, there's a bit of conversation about what's happening, and that unlocks more information to help you find the shroud, or something like that. Because it's not sure if it wants to have the modern story continue, or if it wants to just ignore the modern story. I mean, I'll be interested to see what happens. The Templars have got the Shroud, and they're trying to bring back one of the kind of magical. I know there's got a name and it begins with P. Well, I don't want to say progenitor because I don't think that's right, but it begins with a P. That Juno's a part of, and now one of them is connected to Juno. Is that actually? Is that our? No, I don't think it is. Well, that could be our character from 4 and Rogue. Like, that's the thing, is the character from 4 has joined Rogue, and now the character that we play in the modern stories is us. And quite frankly, I don't like playing me. I don't like. Part of it is like, I see this as I'm playing Evie Fry. Give me Desmond Miles. Like, I know I didn't like him a lot originally, but give me Desmond Miles again. That's just kind of why don't we have like a proper main character like that anymore for the modern story? I did like that you have a recurring character like that, but then they kill off Desmond, which is their prerogative. But they then didn't build up on what was happening next with it. Because after it, they do it in the Assassin's Creed 4, and you're watching the show and everything. And I think it would have been good to have then built on that, maybe continued down that arc. But I think they must have just told all the story they felt they could do in Assassin's Creed 4. Because I don't know what you do with... Because they're now setting them up as these are video games that they're releasing. So I don't see why they couldn't have stuck with their kind of main... Stuck with that character, built them up, and... I know that in Rogue they decide to become... a Templar, so you can't really use them in the same way. I don't know. I don't know what they could have done then. But I think, you just don't have that. Don't have them join the Templars. Or have them join the Templars as a double agent. So you're still working for them, and you're getting information, but you're now passing information on to Sean and Rebecca in a kind of deniable way, kind of thing. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. I mean, I'm not one of these writers, so something to think about. Oh, Rick Miller was Winston Churchill. He was terrible as Winston Churchill. That's harsh. He wasn't terrible as Winston Churchill. It's just Winston Churchill always had that speech impediment that caused him to slightly slur his words. And he had his accent, of course, and spoke the way he did he had a very distinctive voice, and you should be... If you're voicing Churchill, you should imitate his voice. It's very distinctive. Don't just put on a British accent, or particularly English received pronunciation type accent. Murder ballads. Oh, is that what we were just listening to? Possibly. So yeah, I think other than him, I think he was the only character he's the only voice actor that I noticed was particularly bad, and I think that's normally a good sign, because I think in things like this, I think if you notice the voice actors, there's sometimes it's a good thing not to notice the voice actor. It's the same as music. It takes you slightly out of the experience because you're not thinking about these characters. You're thinking about this person. Now, it's hard to do to not think about a live action actor because you're seeing their face for the most part. I say that as someone who's been told that they could go into voice acting or voice work of some kind by people who admittedly are not professionals. They're just like people from schools. So yeah, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But no, yeah. So I think everyone was good. I think of the characters, like the side characters that you're meant to like impress, like what was it, Clara, who's the girl, Henry, who they should have done, who I'm kind of glad that they kind of had him and Evie, but they could have done more with some of the missions. Which is kind of one of the things I'm a bit like, Then there's the person in glasses, who I'm fairly sure was actually female, pretending to be a man in the suit and everything. Or was that actually explicitly said? I can't remember. And I think that's the problem, is they introduce all these characters that you're trying to work with, but they don't really do anything other than... Like, Abeline was great and kept coming back as a kind of... what was it? Leclerc? From Allo Allo? It's like, it is I, Leclerc. It's like, yes, of course we know. And everyone's like, yes, it's really obvious it's you. Stop it. Good disguises are not that good. It's like, yeah, it's... some spies are the master of 1,000 faces, like, of the man of 1,000 faces. Leclerc is the man of one face. And it's just... so that was good, because he kept coming back. Henry Green, I think if you're going to have... Like, basically, they only really set up the relationship between him and Evie just as it became a problem. And I think it would have been better to have maybe introduced it and had it be more of a thing early on. Especially, like, I was thinking she was going to get, like, they were going to tease her with Graham Bell, and then that was just going to be like, oh, it doesn't work. Yeah, so there was some, yeah, and I can't, like, I don't know the other characters off the top of my head. Like, and that's the problem, is it's like some of them are just like, they're here for one mission where we introduce them, and they will never be mentioned again. Yeah. If you're going to have a long game, you need to bring these characters back every so often, because otherwise people, like me, will forget them. So, yeah. I think ups and downs. I think it's a standard Assassin's Creed game set in London, and I like that, but I'm not entirely like, if you don't like, I don't think if you didn't like Assassin's Creed, I don't think this would change your mind about Assassin's Creed. And if you did like Assassin's Creed, I don't think it would change your mind about Assassin's Creed. It doesn't feel bad. It feels like it does what Assassin's Creed does, for good and ill, without having that many problems with it. Yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed it. We'll do the Jack the Ripper DLC at some point. And we'll see what happens with that, because, yeah, I was actually thinking, I think a lot of, you could probably write a weird realm where all the games I've played kind of somehow fit together. But I think this might be the part where it breaks, because I don't think we're going to have a Jewish man who's got syphilitic children that he had caught off a prostitute for the Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper connection. But yes, we will see. We'll see how we get into it. I mean, I think, well, that's 1880s. This is 1860s, so I wonder what the connection is. It's 20 years difference. So, are we playing as one of their children, or are we playing as Evie or Jacob? I don't know. We'll have to find out. But I'm kind of babbling and just waffling because I like to try and finish with the credits. Occasionally I just walk off and leave them to go, which I might do. Because there's not much else to talk about. I've talked about the characters, I've talked a little bit about the plot, as much as I can remember it, with having a massive break. I think several breaks, actually, in this. Which hopefully doesn't happen again for other games. Mechanisms and the mechanics, it's Assassin's Creed. You Assassin's Creed it. I think I'm out of things to say. The music was nice, in parts. Then again, I just like Abide With Me, so... So yes, I'm going to finish off letting the credits roll through so that we can all look at these wonderful people and thank them for all their hard work. But I will let it roll on in peace, and I will stop waffling. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Destruction's our delight. Delight, our greatest sorrow.
The music stopped, so I think that started to loop. So I think I will stop there. Farewell.